playing for PSG in the French league, where you
There's no
basically
ambition.
guaranteed the
Like,
season. Never won the Champions League with them.
Hassan, Neymar, what is he thinking moving to Saudi Arabia in the middle of his prime?
I want to say smack down right in the middle of his prime, but he still has several good years ahead of him. What is he thinking? I mean, I found it so disappointing because I've defended Neymar in the past just because I think he's a brilliant footballer. Um, you know my feelings about PSG. I just don't think it's nothing to do with PSG. It's more to do with the league. The French league just isn't strong, and PSG has made it that way. But him going there with that project, it never. I know they made it close a couple times in the Champions League, whatever, but it never really looked like that Galactico model was ever going to work.
no.
And I always wanted to see Neymar in the Prem, and people say, "Oh, can he? Of course, you can handle in the Prem. Like he's played, in Champions League against all these types of teams." So
Mm.
I was hoping that he would eventually move, and not, he stayed at PSG for way, way too long. And then for him to make the decision to go to Saudi Arabia, it's clearly money. He's probably just
And
been
lifestyle as well.
lifestyle, but he's also probably just given up on his career and the fact that obviously didn't work out with him with Brazil. He obviously got injured, and when obviously then Germany destroyed Brazil that year when he was injured.
Mm.
He's had several injuries in his career. The last tournament, Brazil obviously went out disappointingly. Everybody was shocked about that. They were one of the favorites. Sorry, not clear favorites, but one of the favorites.
And Croatia on it.
Was Croatia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Croatia or Morocco? Oh no, that's Portugal. Was Morocco? Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I think he just reached a point where he's just fed up. Like the Brazil career is basically over. He's probably got another tournament or two in him, but he's always injured. And to his credit, he's actually played through a lot of injury, and he'll get treatment and whatnot, but he won't wait long enough to come back. You know what I mean? He's always eager to play. So I've always admired that about him. I watched his documentary. He's a very likable person.
So do you think, like, what, speaking of his documentary, you see that he's surrounded by his best mates and, he basically pays them all his salary.
Yeah.
Do you think that had anything to do with it? Do you think he just, like you said, he got fed up and he was just like, I'm here with my boys. I could set them all up for life if I just move to Saudi Arabia, kind of fuck my legacy.
I
It is what it is at this point. People will hate me or love me because that's what he always said in the
Definitely not
documentary.
fubbling decision, is it? I mean, for anyone arguing that,
well,
No, but he could have. Most footballers will say, "Listen, I still have some years left in me. I want to prove people wrong." But in his documentaries, he sort of sounded defeated in the sense that he was like, "I don't really care what people think anymore." Which might be a good thing, but at the same time, it might kind of eliminate that drive, and maybe now all he's thinking about is setting up, his inner circle for life.
Well, he's always been so. For example, like Brazil always have that the Messiah or whatever that they have. Those little phases, right? Obviously Pele, and then they've got Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, whatever.
yeah.
So Neymar was the next thing, and he did. He obviously won them. I know it's not that big of a deal, but Brazilians love him. He won the Olympics. He's always performed well for Brazil. But again, I think just all those injuries led to a situation where he's just fed up. And like you said, I think it's like every single player going to Saudi Arabia. I'm setting up my whole family and generations and my friends' lives forever. Like if I got offered that contract, I would tell all of you guys, your families to retire, taking care of you guys for the rest of your lives.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's why we started the podcast, right?
Yeah,
Get
exactly,
that
for
offer
sure.
from
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
but yeah, so I just, like I said, I'm a little disappointed because in my mind, he was one of the best players in the world for sure. But I always feel bad for players that go through injuries. Like Michael Owen, for example, like he was unbelievable. Obviously, major injuries slowed down his career, and he had a shorter career than he probably could have had.
Mm.
Obviously not in the same ilk, obviously, but Daniel Sturridge, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, these are examples of obviously put Jack Wilshere.
Yeah.
Jack Wilshere is a massive one. I mean, yeah, so I always feel bad for players like that, but I feel that just all the pressure that he had in the past, the injuries, and big defeats in terms of just his career in general, big defeats in terms of the injuries, the Brazil, all that kind of stuff. I think it just led. Even in the documentary, he talks about his regret going to like leaving Barcelona and him trying to go back and engineering a move back that didn't pan out. I think he's just like, okay, you know what? I'm 30 now. I'm at PSG. This project's not going anywhere. Messi's left. Like,
He
whatever.
can never be compared to like one of the greats.
He can't.
He can't.
He
He
can't.
just can't.
He was one of the best players in his time, like
for sure.
like Hazard, for
A
example.
lot, yeah, exactly. Perfect example.
But that prime was
like a lot of players. You can pick out.
Yeah.
Robin van Persie had that like kind of
Yeah.
peak couple seasons where that's the best number 9 or the best right winger in the world. But mate, bang average career in my opinion.
Yeah, like if he came to Man City, for example, last like a season ago, and then won the treble with them or whatever,
Yeah.
Or played a couple of seasons, won another Prem, that's a different story. But yeah, playing for PSG in the French league, where you
There's no
basically
ambition,
guaranteed the
like-
season, never won the Champions League with them. Yeah, like Barcelona was obviously the prime days with him, but yeah, money probably,
Yeah, I
disappointment,
mean,
defeat.
disappointing end to a beautiful career.
Yeah, our friend Arian's gonna be choked about this, by the way.
He probably doesn't even
You
know.
just think about the mentalities for me. It's never been there. Like you look at the Messi, and they always put them in the same brackets, right? And then
Yeah.
don't know it. He just seems like it's always been like a lifestyle choice for him. That's why he went to PSG.
Well, this is the argument me and Hassan have always had, and I've always said this about Neymar, and I know
Yeah.
we've had some heated arguments about it, but he's just not a winner. He's just not a player that can be your focal point, can be the number one guy to lead a team to victory.
Right.
And I know, okay, at Barcelona they did win, but that was Messi driving them. And Messi has proven that he can go to other places and win. He's done it with Argentina. So there's been other examples of Messi leading a team. Neymar has not won anywhere else but with Barcelona. So I've always had that. And there's other players like that in other sports, like basketball has a lot of them. But there's just players that are insanely talented, insanely skilled, you know, like the Jack Grealish types who are just supremely talented in the sense that, they were probably born that way.
Yeah.
But they just aren't winners in the end.
I mean,
I'll still disagree on that, but I don't want to get too much into it.
I mean, like, yeah, this is gonna rattle you to the core. The same kind of can be said for a certain Paul Pogba. Internationally, of course, he's won a World Cup, but
That's my argument.
that's your
towards
argument.
that.
But you look at his club career;
Fair enough.
it's pretty average. Like,
Fair enough. But he did captain. He wasn't the captain, but he did lead the team, the French team, to victory. And if you watch that documentary,
yeah, I can't
if
deny
you
it.
watch that documentary, he's in the dressing room at halftime, yelling at the guys,
Doing his airplane,
driving them forward. So,
French bias, I would say.
yeah.
well, just watch the documentary and
Probably
let me
has
know.
like hairspray in his hair, putting an Instagram post up.
Man, Giroud sprays his hair every day.
Useless.
He's won every single trophy known to man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what Neymar was thinking. Money grabbing scumbag. We can all agree on that. Okay, let's move on.
Oh, have you seen the picture of him as well?
Yeah, flying a 747.
No, like
Okay.
he's got like this massive gut. Like,
Oh, well, he's mailed it in at this
I
point.
mean, yeah, that's what I mean. He wants an easy touch. Yeah, a lot of Brazilians do that.
Yeah, but
Honestly, they get
it's not
certain.
just. I don't think it's just Brazilians.
Oh, they get fat.
They do. But like, no offense to any Brazilians out there, but I think it's also like a lot of it has to come down to also mental. Because obviously Neymar has so much expectations on him.
Yeah.
All the criticism that happened throughout his career, all that attention, and it's happened to English players as well. It's happened to every type of player before.
Yeah.
Where sometimes just that lifestyle, that attention, you just don't have any space to breathe sometimes, and obviously the injuries and stuff like that. You're dealing with all these moving factors at the same time. Where, like I said, you just become defeated, and you're just like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna pay for the check.
Yeah, he's taking the easy road out, the lifestyle road out.
Anyway, I think we're repeating ourselves. We're all in
in
agreement that he's crap.